Hello. Um, it's been over 2 months since my last video, and shit has happened. Um, Many things have happened. Uh, so in my last video, I was telling y'all that I was going to PSW school in a week or so. That's where I left it off. Basically, I was about 7 days away from starting PSW school, because it was supposed to start on May 4th. Um, I suppose I'll start for this video. I'll start from there. So what happened? Did I end up starting PSW school as expected? The answer is no. Um, my grandmother passed away shortly after or before that video, which prompted my mom and I to head back to the Philippines for the funeral. So it was a very um, last minute type of trip. So instead of starting PSW school on May 4th, I found myself going back to the Philippines from May 1st all the way up to May 6th. And then my mom and I went back to Canada on May 7th. Um, so yeah, that happened. Um, got to say goodbye to grandmother, got to visit my relatives in the Philippines, so that was great. Even got to see the beach um, while I was saying goodbye to my grandma. Um, so yeah, uh, that was the Philippines trip. Um, and then when we came back, a couple days after we came back, on May 10th, I ran my first ever 10K. It was a goal of mine. I thought to myself that I would prepare the weeks before that 10K run. I thought to myself that I would prepare and go to the gym regularly, so that come the actual day of the run, I'd be prepared. But long story short, I never really got to go to the gym because of multiple reasons, largely because I was lazy and really didn't feel like going to the gym to prepare for the run. But regardless of whether I was prepared or not, I still went for the actual 10K run. So I'm proud of that. Um, I have pics that I'll show you too. Both the beach trip, I'm not gonna show the funeral, but my trip to the Philippines, um, and the 10K run. So I'll show that to you guys as well. Um, so it wasn't until um, May 8th that I got to go to school for PSW school. And shortly after that first couple of days of PSW school, I I saw the types of assignments that were going to be have that I was going to have to do for the entire school year. And basically I saw that they were less practical than I had wanted them to be. So I went into PSW school thinking that it was a practical program. So they would teach me skills that I would use on the job. And it would be less theoretical stuff that I'd have to endure and do. However, the assignments that I was getting assigned to do were still impractical, to say the least. Um, for example, it was a bunch of papers that had to be written, and a bunch of group presentations. There was even an assignment where you had to make a video, and then make a skit with your group mates. to talk about anatomy. And so shortly after figuring these types of assignments were going to be assigned to me, I really got discouraged and frustrated with school. I thought to myself, my job as a PSW will involve my wiping other people's asses for a living. That's the job. But why am I getting assigned these types of assignments that have nothing to do with that particular task? And so I really got frustrated, and I felt that I was back to square one, where I was learning things that didn't have anything to do with what I wanted to do. It's like I found I found enrolling into the PSW program useless altogether, because I had to endure things that didn't have anything to do with it. It was almost like an excuse for me to pay them money. And so I decided to basically quit PSW school again. So I believe I quit like May 15th. So a week and a half into the program, I quit. I thought that I wouldn't get a refund from my tuition, but I'm glad that I did. However, maybe a month or two after I quit my school and started looking for jobs again, I soon realized yet again that I have nowhere to go with the credentials that I currently have. The only credentials that I do have is my degree in sociology, which I already knew was basically a dead end. I didn't know how to apply it towards any particular career. So I figured, you know what? I'm gonna try and go back to the warehouse job that I left 5 or 6 months ago. And so that's what I did. I reapplied and got into an interview on May 20th, but I waited for a month or so and didn't hear any response from them. Even today, till this day, there's no response from them after that interview. So another thing that I did after reapplying to the warehouse job is to consult an employment agency, Employment Ontario, to seek for their help in looking for a job. And for a while, I thought it was going to be really helpful. But then after using their help, I soon realized that their type of help is basically to assist individuals to making themselves appealing and attractive to other employers. So that's with making sure that your resume is in tip-top shape, teaching you interview skills, teaching you how to look for jobs that align with what you want, and making sure you have the appropriate clothing that they can help you get through funding. And then maybe in transportation as well. If you need public transportation, they can help you get tickets, bus fares, bus passes, that sort of thing. So they're there to support you throughout the process, but they're not the type of help that will guarantee you a job. They're there to help you get a job, but it's not a guarantee that you will get it. And so I started asking myself, it's like, okay, well, I'm not their only client. They have other clients who are seeking the same type of help as I am. So all they're really doing is making other people just like me more appealing and more attractive to employers. So how does this differentiate my application with other people's applications? It's the same type of service. And so I figured it's another dead end. There's another useless type of help, and I kind of gave up shortly after that, um, with the employment agency. And um, because at that point I was like, I'm at a dead end. I don't My credentials are useless. The type of help that employment agencies are giving me are useless. I'm at a dead end. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do with myself. And I just quit school. Um, but without school, I am directionless. I have nowhere to go. So what am I going to do? And I reassessed why I quit school. And I basically thought that, okay, I quit school because I was so frustrated with the type of tasks that weren't going to align with the job that I was willing to do, for which I was also going to not get paid as much as I would hope to get paid for. In other words, I was doing schoolwork that didn't align with the type of job that I was going for which I wasn't getting paid as much as I'd like to be. Um, and so it was like, I quit school because I felt I was wasting a lot of effort and time. But I asked myself, if the job that I'm trying to pursue paid a little bit more than what is initially being offered to the PSW career, if it paid more, would I be willing to endure the type of schoolwork that involved, um, that I had to do to get to that career? And the answer is basically yes. If it paid more, I'm willing to endure the group presentations, the group papers, the individual papers, the type of video creation that these schoolwork involved me to had are asking me to do. If it paid more, I would be willing to do all that. But what type of job is, you know, paying more than PSW work? And so the only real answer that I was willing to take was nursing. I'm back. I'm back there. I did register nursing. I did a year of that, and I knew that it was going to pay well. It was a stable career, and basically, I knew how hard it was going to be already. I knew what to expect. So I asked myself, okay, why would you go back to nursing? You did it. You didn't complete it. Why would you go back to it? And I realized a number of reasons. First, it's a sort of loose end that I really want to wrap up and manage to complete. It's something that I feel is was left unfinished by me, and I'd like to complete it this time around. Secondly, I'm willing to go back to it because it's um it's a path to a stable career, and that's really all my what my parents want for me. They want me to have a future that is stable and um good before they pass away themselves. um so And the thing is, I'd like that for myself as well. I'd like to have a stable future. I'd like to have a good career. I'd like to be able to sustain myself without having my parents basically supporting me throughout their entire life. Right? I want to be able to live by myself, and I feel that a career in nursing will let me do that. Um, and yeah, those were basically my reasons. I felt that it was going to be my last resort, my last card. Um, and so I made the decision to basically reapply to practical nursing, not RN, RPN, because I knew how demanding RN was, and I thought to myself that maybe RPN would be a little less so. Um, and RPN just takes 2 years. It's not accelerated like the first nursing program that I undertook. It was accelerated then, and I wasn't willing to go to another accelerated program. I was willing to do 2 years, but for a program that just involved 2 years, not accelerated or anything like that. And so yeah, I applied in June. Yeah, I applied in June, and I basically got accepted into Seneca. But this time around, it's not at Seneca Newnham that I applied to. Well, I applied to Seneca Newnham as well, but I got waitlisted for that particular program. So I applied to Seneca King as well because it's far closer to where I live. So it would be much more convenient for me. So I got accepted. The other schools that I applied to were George Brown, Georgian College, and Humber Polytechnic. But I lacked the prerequisites for those three schools, and the only school that would take my my current credentials was Seneca King and Seneca Newnham. So that's where I basically applied and got in. And this is for the January intake. So that's my current direction. I start nursing school, practical nursing school in January 2027, and it should take me 2 years to complete. So by the time I do complete it, I'll be at least 29 years old, maybe 30. So yeah, it's 5 semesters, and the tuition is basically 6,000 per term. So that was the next set of problems that I had to solve. How was I going to sustain my education? And so I figured a part-time job will do it. So while I was recovering from my schizophrenia episode, I decided to try my luck again into the workforce and apply for different jobs. This time around for just a part-time, didn't have to be full-time because I don't think I was ready to get back into it full-time. So I applied for part-time jobs, and lo and behold, it took me took me time before I landed my role. But I eventually did, and it's basically a job at a dollar store, a part-time job, so 20 hours per week, give or take. And it was such a quick process. I applied, and then on the same day that I applied, I got hired, which was such a blessing because I didn't have to endure the waiting of the results and whatnot. A minimum wage job, but it's a job, and it's income for me. And given that my program doesn't start until January, I have about 6 months to save up so that I could at least afford my my first term. So there's that. So yeah, I'm basically working for the next 6 months in a part-time gig to earn income that will help me sustain, and that will help me sustain myself and offset the expenses from my parents, because I want to be able to at least pay for the gas that I put in the car. Um, yeah, at least that, my own expenses, my food, my bills, my phone bills, um, gas and food. Well, I think I said food already. Yeah, my own expenses. Um, my parents are not obligating me to pay rent, and I'm glad that's the case, because I don't think even with a part-time job I'll be able to pay them rent. Otherwise, my savings will be depleted right away. So there's that. I got hired to a job and I have a source of income right now. What else happened? Oh, I switched rooms. So now I'm at a room with a balcony. So that's a balcony right there. Maybe I'll be filming videos right outside there sometime. And this is my new bed. I downsized my bed from a full-sized bed to a twin-sized bed, because the new room that I got is smaller, and the previous bed that was here took up the entire space. So I figured, let me shrink it, so that I can, yeah, so I figured I'll shrink it and utilize the space a bit more effectively. And it turned out nice. I also have a desk set up here with my own PC. Not PC, it's Mac. I'm an Apple aficionado. So there's that. Oh, I went camping with my friends in June as well. And now it's July. What's the date today? What is the date today? July 14th. So I've been going to my injection appointments for my schizophrenia regularly too. So it's been good so far. No delusions again, no psychosis. And I'm willing to go through these injections every month if that's what it takes for me to not go back into psychotic episodes. Yeah. So for the next 6 months, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be going to my injection appointments. I'll be going to work, saving money, and then preparing myself for nursing school. That's about it. And maybe return to some regular filming for YouTube. I know there's barely anyone watching this, and YouTube has kind of decided that my channel isn't really attracting any views. So it's been recommending it. It hasn't been recommending my videos at all, but I'm filming nonetheless, because I'm trying to keep like a sort of diary for myself too. And anyone who watches it besides myself, it's kind of like an extra. So yeah, I'll be uploading this video soon. But for now, I gotta go to work, and I'll see you next time. Peace.